Hello and welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Dina Deleasa Gonsar in for Cara DeFalco.
And I'm Mike Favetta. Thanks for joining us. Dina, great to see you on this beautiful morning. Feels like fall again here
I
across New
know.
Jersey.
We've been having a good run. I'm very happy with this sunshine weather we've been having.
Yeah, and with that chill in the air, Election Day is around the corner. It's just a week and a half away, and early voting in New Jersey is starting this weekend. New Jersey Politics host Laura Jones is here with all the information you need to know. Laura, welcome to the show.
Good to see you both.
Well, good morning. So this year, the presidential race is upon us, and I'm wondering, how do you think this will impact voter turnout in New Jersey this year, especially with competitive races like the U.S. Senate race and the congressional seats that are on the ballot?
Yeah, well, presidential elections always drive higher voter turnout. This year is no exception. New Jersey voters tend to show up in greater numbers when the top of the ticket is drawing that national attention. Next year is going to be a gubernatorial election, so that will draw a lot of attention as well. We have some years where it's the state legislature where it's the top of the ticket and you have lower voter turnout. So this one will be a very large turnout. But what is interesting is how the turnout can have a ripple effect down the ballot, right? So we've got the Senate seat up for grabs and we've got all of our congressional seats. Some are looking more competitive than usual. So we might see more voters getting engaged beyond just the presidential race. Local candidates, they're very aware of this dynamic and they strategize accordingly. So especially with the early voting and the mail-in ballots, they play a key role, and they certainly will in this cycle as well.
Now, Laura, you mentioned the U.S. Senate race as it's heating up. What do you think voters are paying closest attention to when it comes to picking their next senator?
Yeah, well, voters are weighing in both on local and national concerns. With the Senate in such a tight balance, New Jerseyans know that vote is really going to influence which party controls the chamber. But at the same time, you've got local issues like affordability, infrastructure, even some ethics concerns. That resonates more than ever. So people are asking, who is advocating for New Jersey's interest? And the candidates are trying to walk that fine line between aligning with national party agendas and also showing that they understand the day-to-day issues facing New Jersey voters, those who live in New Jersey. And we saw that in a lot of the debates that we were hosting, trying to, align with, like the U.S. Senate candidates aligning with their national parties and trying to be in tune with what the New Jersey people really want, what they need, what affects their day-to-day life.
Now, Laura, you started to clue us in a little bit on some of those issues in those races that are not the big ticket item, the presidential race. So beyond that, what are some local elections or ballot issues that people should keep an eye on?
Yeah, well, all politics is local, right? It's a saying, and it is very true. So some of the most impactful decisions that affect you on a day-to-day basis, they're happening at the local level. School board elections in particular. You have local county seats. In New Jersey, with so much focus on affordability, we're seeing candidates run on platforms that address property taxes, municipal spending. There are also several school board elections that really could affect how education policy plays out, especially when it comes to curriculum and funding, because all that school funding comes mainly from the local level. So they may not get as much media attention because, we're wedged in between and the presidential race tends to get all of the headlines, but they directly shape the communities that we live in. So for voters staying informed about these local races, it is just as critical as casting a vote for the top of the ticket.
So now, Laura, I have to ask you about early voting because even on the national stage, early voting is becoming very popular and it starts this weekend here in New Jersey. So what can voters expect and what do they need to know now before they go to vote?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked this question. I have been on the phone this morning with my county clerk and have a wealth of information. First of all, most people, you should have received your sample ballot by now, right? So this came in the mail and your sample ballot has so much information on it. I have a first-time voter, my son, who is 18 years old. This will be his first time voting. And he's like, Mom, what do I do? First and foremost, open up this sample ballot, right? It's going to tell you what you are looking at, right? So and mine is specific to Hunterdon County, that you have the president, you have the United States Senate, you have the House of Representatives, and in Hunterdon, we have voting for county commissioner and township committee, as well as a school board. There's no statewide question on the ballot. Some municipalities might have a question. Okay, so when it comes to voting, this sample ballot has all the information that you need. But if you're not looking through that, I got you covered. 3 ways to vote in New Jersey. You can vote by mail, you can do early voting, or in-person voting on election day. So if you're planning to vote by mail, the deadline to request a mail-in ballot is coming up on Tuesday. So you've got to act fast. That is October 29th. You can request one by going to your county clerk's office. You can go visit them in person or check their website for instructions. There's a phone number you can also call, 1-877-NJ-VOTER. So much information. So once you have your ballot, if you're doing a mail-in, you can return it a few different ways. You can return it by mail, put in that stamp on, make sure it is postmarked by election day. You can go in person to your county clerk's office or at your polling place on election day. Once you request a mail-in ballot, you cannot go to the screen at your polling place and cast a vote that way. Once you request that, this is a sample ballot. Once you request that mail-in ballot, you have to. However, you can return it to your polling place, or you can return it to one of the secured drop boxes located across your county. I believe it is a minimum of 10 drop boxes that are manned 24/7. In Hunterdon County, I know that there are 12 different drop boxes where you can go, and on this sample ballot, it will tell you exactly where you can go. So, early voting. That's another great option if you want to avoid the rush. Okay, early voting, you will go and you get the same experience as you do on election day with your touch screen, with however your particular polling place polls, whether it's paper ballot. I think most have gone to the touch screen. That starts on October 28th and runs through November 5th. And of course, there is the traditional in-person voting on election day. Polls open at 6 a.m. and they close at 8 p.m. So New Jersey, you've got some options. No matter how busy your schedule is, there's a way to get your vote in. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. Again, call your county clerk. They have a wealth of information. You can go 1-877-NJ-VOTER. You can go to votenj.gov. So much information. You can even on the website, you can even track once you cast your ballot. If you vote by mail, you can track it. There's a voter tracker, which is a pretty cool feature.
Oh, wow.
So if you're so inclined, go on the website, check it out. There's a lot of great information and great options.
Laura, that's a great point, because I switched to vote by mail back during the pandemic, and the tracking feature is better
Yeah.
than some of the national couriers. Like, it really shows you
Really?
exactly when and where your ballot is
It
and when
does.
it was scanned in.
It does. And that's, I'm glad you brought that up too. You can see if it was accepted, rejected, what have you. Another thing, if you didn't vote, if you haven't registered to vote, that deadline has passed. However, you can always request a provisional ballot, whether or not that's going to be accepted. You might have to go in front of a judge, but you can still request a provisional ballot if you have not registered to vote, because those deadlines have passed. I have more deadlines again. If you go online to NJ.gov, vote 29th is the deadline to apply for the mail-in ballots. November 1st, application to receive general election ballots by electronics means, and a November 4th deadline for in-person mail-in ballots, and November 5th, that is election day.
Wow. Laura Jones, thank you so much for being with us today and giving us more than just all of the information, but it feels like every piece of information relating to this race and voting. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
I did not know that you could track your mail-in ballot. That's amazing.
It's impressive. It's something that a lot of times in New Jersey we complain about things. We like to complain. We're New Jerseyans after all, but that's one thing they did right. They did it right, and they did a great job with it to see, how step by step every hand that ballot touches is tracked, and you can follow it online.
Good to know. Well, coming up, a brand new ballet is coming to Atlantic City. Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Dina Deleasa Gonsar, along with Mike Favetta. The Atlantic City Ballet is performing Night on Bald Mountain this weekend. Here to tell us about it is founding artistic director Phyllis Papa. Phyllis, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. I would love to talk about this ballet. so that people know what they are going to see. First off, there is no ballet in history called Night on Bald Mountain. But I was inspired about in 2006 to work on a ballet for children that they would not be scared as the Disney version of Night on Bald Mountain, which is a cartoon, is very scary. If you've seen it, it looks like this big monster that plays the devil. And then you have all these spirits all over the place in fire. So portraying hell, really. And I thought, what a wonderful piece of music. It should be used, and it should be used in a way that's not going to frighten anyone. Because honestly, as an adult, I was frightened by it. And I saw it as a child, as a very young girl. I remember seeing the cartoon. It didn't affect me as much as it did as me as an adult. So anyway, I created a story behind it. So this story, of course, there's the mountain. The story is about a family that goes for on a vacation, and they happen to go to Night on Bald Mountain. So they go to this mountain for their vacation. And as nightfall happens, they encounter all these different types of creatures, from witches to dolls that come to life, to uh, dancers that do like Russian type dancing, scary type dance. Um, a couple in a mask that's scary. So what happens on this mountain is they explore the mountain, and the parents lose the children, and then the parents lose each other. So they're encountering different characters as they're exploring the mountain. And at the end, believe it or not, they all come together. They find scary when they get lost.
I could imagine so. And Phyllis, you said at the beginning that there was something about the music that really inspired you. Can you tell us a little bit more about the music and what you're hoping audiences will get from this performance?
Well, the music was first composed as a series of compositions in 1881 by Mussorgsky. And it wasn't until he passed away that it actually, I'm sorry, that's my dog in the background, that actually became popular. And it was arranged by another Russian, Gordakov. And he's the one who made it famous. So it was originally a composition of different poems from Russian folklore and myths. So it's interesting because the musical content is very dark, but there are sections of it that are very light and very melodic, which is interesting to push these two things together in a piece. And it's not that long. So I definitely have added things to the program to fill it out. We're doing Sorcerer's Apprentice and Dance Macabre on the same program, since the total score is only 29 minutes long. So a lot
That's
happens in 20
yeah,
minutes.
that sounds incredible that you have all of these other ballets included. So with the Atlantic City Ballet, and if people wanted to go see this show, where can we get tickets and more information?
Well, we're performing it at Caesars Circus Maximus Theater this Friday, tomorrow at 8 p.m. And you can get tickets online by going to acballet.org, or you can go to the box office and get your tickets right at Caesars. They open 1 hour before the performance. And if you are, uh, a first responder, or a vet, or in military, you'll get a discounted ticket of $20. Also, anybody who lives in Atlantic City also has that opportunity.
Wow, Phyllis Papa, thank you so much for sharing the story, and hopefully a lot of folks enjoy this artistic rendition. The founding artistic
I have
director
one more
of
thing to tell you. if you come in costume, we have a costume contest where you will actually win prizes.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
that's really
And
cool.
the
That's very
dancers
different.
will be judging the people in costume.
Well, I'm going to have to get my costume ready. I'm expecting big things from you as well, Mike. Going to get that creativity going. Thank you so much, Phyllis, for being with us this morning. All right. So from one show to the next, coming up, don't miss the Montclair Film Festival. We have the scoop next. Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Dina Deleasa Gonsar with Mike Favetta. Women make up over half the labor force in the U.S., with 3/4 of women between the ages of 25 to 34 actively employed, yet they are not receiving adequate job protection when it comes to uniquely female health concerns. Here to tell us more is Harmonia Healthcare Emergency Medicine physician Dr. Robin Glessner. Dr. Robin Glessner, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great for you to be here. So, doctor, tell us, what types of issues do women, particularly pregnant women, encounter in the workforce?
So specifically, and what we cover here at Harmonia Healthcare is the common issue of nausea and vomiting in pregnancy. Now that can range from not feeling your best, occasional nausea and vomiting, to severe cases like hyperemesis gravidarum, which is basically a debilitating form of nausea and vomiting in pregnancy. Now that is something that can start in the third week of pregnancy, before a woman really even knows she's pregnant, she's not feeling well. And these women can be rendered completely disabled, unable to eat, drink. They are required to have feeding tubes, PICC lines, frequent IV infusions, things of that nature. So you can imagine if a woman is experiencing that, they can not even carry out their activities of daily living, like self-care, versus carrying out a full-time job outside of the home. So there are a lot of amazing things that New Jersey is doing for pregnant women. The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act and New Jersey paid family leave. But for women who are suffering the entire 40 weeks, there's not much there to help protect their jobs, protect their benefits.
And as you told us, that there are sometimes some really serious cases of nausea and vomiting affecting pregnant women. So we talked a little bit about how it could affect their everyday life and how it could render them incapacitated for doing their jobs. Can you speak a little bit more specifically about how that would directly affect them in the workforce?
Sure. So a lot of these women are vomiting around the clock, experiencing crippling nausea, dehydration, and malnutrition to the point of organ failure. So they are unable to carry out their jobs. And in order to go on disability, which many of them require, they require a physician to sort of document, to back them up on what they're experiencing. And then that physician must be educated on the topic of hyperemesis gravidarum. They must believe the women and must support the women. So if that's not in place, these women are having their jobs and their benefits put at risk, jeopardizing the well-beings of their families and themselves and their fetuses, basically.
Right, and other than disability leave, something that I'm very familiar with my wife in her 33rd week of pregnancy, we're looking into the whole disability leave, and there's really not much money there once you go on leave, for these women to support themselves. And so what other laws are in place to protect these pregnant women in the workforce?
So as far as towards term pregnancy, like around when they're going to deliver and then after deliver, New Jersey has the Pregnant Women's Fairness Act, which keeps their job protected against discrimination. We have FMLA in place, which will offer 6 to 12 weeks of some paid leave, and then New Jersey paid family leave, which is groundbreaking. I think we're we're only one of 3 states to offer this. But other than that, there's not a whole lot. So we need to kind of up the ante because we want to keep more than half of the workforce in their jobs, happy and healthy. I've been speaking with a woman she works 4 12-hour shifts a week as a dental hygienist. She is suffering from hyperemesis gravidarum. Her physician will not approve her leave, will not put her on leave for whatever reason. And she is being threatened with termination. And if her job is to be terminated, she will lose the income for her and her 1.5-year-old and her health care. And it's just heartbreaking to see her have to deal with that on top of being extremely ill and having a small toddler at home.
Wow, that sounds like a situation that should not be happening. So can you help us find more information on how we can navigate these waters, whether you're pregnant or you have someone in your life that is pregnant and trying to, as Mike said, deal with navigating what's available to them?
Sure, of course. My company's website, harmoniahealthcare.com, offers a lot of information on that. And also more information can be found on the Her Foundation website, where we discuss all the issues related to this for women. But we really are just kind of breaking the ice on this and need to move forward.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more that has to be done, but hopefully there's a brighter future ahead. Robin Glessner, thank you so much for joining us here on the New Jersey Morning Show.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Really incredible, Dina, to hear that in this day and age, we still can't seem to get this right.
For sure. I mean, I remember those moments of being really, really sick and wondering, like, how am I going to make it through the day? And that just shouldn't be that way. But I'm glad that people have their finger on the pulse of that, and maybe we can start to see some changes in the coming years. Well, coming up, don't miss the Montclair Film Festival. We have The Scoop next.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Mike Favetta, along with Dina, Deleasa, Gonsar, in for Cara DeFalco. The 13th annual Montclair Film Festival is happening this week. Here to tell us all about it is Executive Director Beth Gotten. Beth, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So we're excited about the festival this year. Can you tell us how planning is going?
Sure. We're actually on day 7 of 10 days, so we're a little more than halfway through. We opened last Friday night with the film Conclave, which is getting a lot of Oscar buzz, and we're in the midweek. We have a big event coming up on Saturday night. Bon Jovi is going to sit down with Stephen Colbert at ONNJ PAC, and then we close the festival on Sunday afternoon with the film The Piano Lesson.
Lots of fun activities for all. So tell us more about the special event on Saturday night in Newark. You have Bon Jovi sitting down with Stephen Colbert. How does that play into the event?
Sure. So Montclair Film focuses on film, but also storytelling. And we think about all different mediums of the way you can tell your story or share your message. And obviously music is a big part of that. Bon Jovi's also had music in films. So that's something that we also focus on. So Saturday night will be about a 90-minute conversation. Stephen and John Bon Jovi will sit down on stage at ONNJ PAC. They'll talk about Bon Jovi's long career. It's a lot of fun. As you guys know, Stephen's a great host and he brings out great stories. And the two of them, I'm sure, will have a really engaging conversation. We always learn something new about our guests during these. This is the 14th celebrity conversation that we've done. So always a really great night. And it is a fundraiser for Montclair Film. So it's a nice way to come out and support our organization.
Now, what other types of films are being shown this year?
So Montclair Film shows a mix of things that you'll see on the big screen everywhere, like Conclave, Honora, The Piano Lesson, Blitz. But we also show a lot of small independent films. And Montclair Film prides itself on ensuring that new and local filmmakers can have a place to show their films. So we have a New Jersey category. We have a Montclair shorts category. We have an open submission process, so any filmmakers can submit their film. And it's, like some other film festivals only allow the bigger, more elite films, but we really want a platform for all independent filmmakers to show their work.
Now, even though it's a 10-day festival, I'm sure that planning takes almost a year. So tell us more about the other events that you have going on throughout the year, because Montclair Film has a lot going on.
We do. So we're a year-round arts organization. Our festival is sort of our signature event, but we run the Claridge as a nonprofit cinema. It's right on Bloomfield Ave in downtown Montclair. It's a 6-screen theater. We show, again, a mix of big blockbuster films, but also small independent films. We do a lot of community events there. We do a lot of education programs there. We have something called an Impact Series where our high school and middle school students can come in, watch a film, and then engage with either the filmmaker or a subject area expert after the film. So great educational tools through film. We do also teach classes, filmmaking, storytelling, animation, improv, stand-up comedy out of our headquarters, Cinema 505, which is also on Bloomfield Ave.
That's amazing. You guys do it all. Where can people get tickets and find out more information about all of those great events you just mentioned?
Sure. So montclairfilm.org has all the information about everything that we're doing all year long. If you go to that page right now, it's all things festival. So it's really heavily focused on that. You can get your tickets for any of the films remaining. We probably have over 50 films still to show, maybe even more between now and Sunday, plus that special event with Stephen Colbert and Bon Jovi. You can also get tickets for that on Ticketmaster. And if something says it's on standby, we've been getting people off our standby list. So if something looks like it might be sold out, we encourage you to come out to the theater because we pride ourselves on getting everybody in and getting them the content that they want to see.
Amazing. Beth Gotten, Executive Director and co-head of the Montclair Film Festival. montclairfilm.org is the website. Hopefully you'll have a great finish, a strong finish to the festival, and looking forward to the other events throughout the year. Thanks for joining us. Thank
you so much. Have a great day.
Wow, 50 or more films in the next couple of days. Can you imagine? Like, how do you get it all done?
It's so true. That Claridge must be booked from minute to minute there.
Sure. And I love that they get local artists in as well. Like this, there's a big focus on that rather than just like the splashy, big PR pushed films.
Right. It's so important, and great to see that area thriving on Bloomfield Avenue. That was a popular hangout when I was in high school in the area. We'd always go down Bloomfield Avenue, hang out in Montclair, and to see the Claridge and the Wellmont still going strong is always a great thing.
For sure. And coming up, the Mayo Performing Arts Center has announced upcoming events. Stay tuned to hear about them. Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Dina Deleasa Gonsar with Mike Favetta. The Mayo Performing Arts Center has announced some great new events happening this month. Here to give us the exclusive look is Ed Kirchdorfer, Chief Operating Officer. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet, Ed. So tell us more about MPAC.
The Mayo Performing Arts Center is located in Marshtown. We're actually celebrating our 30th anniversary season this year. We have a full slate of concerts, over 200 events scheduled for this season. We're in the midst of our season. We have great shows coming up in the next couple of weeks. A couple sold out shows this weekend, Craig Ferguson in Chicago. But we have a great show coming up on Sunday called It Was 50 Years Ago Today, and it's a Beatles tribute. But it's a Beatles tribute with a different type of spin. So instead of having performers in Beatles costumes and whatnot, features Christopher Cross and David Pack of Ambrosia and Jason Sheff of Chicago and Joey Molan of Badfinger. So you're getting like some really quality artists performing Beatles songs and their own hits.
Now the MPAC is in my town and we visit frequently. We have plans in the next coming months, but I'm going to let you tell us what events are coming up.
Sure. In November, we have a great lineup. We have Rick Springfield, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot of 50-year-old women reliving their past for that show. We have country artist Josh Turner, a Christian contemporary group called the Newsboys, and comedian Eric D'Alessandro, who's a local guy. He's from Staten Island. If you like some comedy that's a little bit on the dirty side, he's a very funny guy. And then we were like leaping right into our holiday programming, believe it or not, in mid-November.
So with that holiday programming, tell us more about that. And what of all of the holiday programming is, I would say, the most popular that people just can't wait to get tickets for?
Well, we like to think that all of our one shows are popular. There's really, I hate using the cliche, there's something for everybody during the holiday season, but there literally is something for everyone. But the stand, and we have things like a Charlie Brown Christmas, and we have Mannheim Steamroller. But really, the big holiday event for us is New Jersey Ballet's The Nutcracker, which comes in for 14 performances in mid-December, starts December 13th. And what makes their Nutcracker unique is not only is it New Jersey Ballet, which is New Jersey's leading ballet company, but you also get the New Jersey Symphony performing the music. So it's, if you don't like dance and you just want to hear the music soundtrack of Nutcracker, you get the symphony. If you are not really a symphony fan and you want to see great dance, it's Nutcracker. And together, it's a fantastic family experience.
Now, this is your 30th anniversary season, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything new that you've added to your lineup to honor this milestone?
Well, we're always looking to get new artists and new events in place. We're bringing back a lot of the favorite artists over the last 30 years. So, people always want to see acts that have been here before, like Johnny Mathis or Jay Leno, but we have an exciting lineup of touring Broadway coming up in the spring, including Come From Away and the Cher Show. Really, we're always looking for new and interesting things to put on our stage and really deliver all sorts of the performing arts to the people in the Morris County area. On a typical week, we might have a jazz performance on a Thursday, a comedian on a Friday, a big rock act on a Saturday, and a family show on Sunday. So, we really just try to bring in as many different types of performances and genres of the performing arts as possible.
Now, Ed, you also have a performing arts school program. Tell us about that.
Aside from the events that we have on our stage, we have a very robust arts education program, and the Performing Arts School is kind of the center of this program. It's a wonderful school. We have about 1,000 kids who go through this school on an annual basis, and it's not the type of school where if you have a child and it's not like, hey, I want to be a star, I want to learn how to be on stage. It's not really the school for you, but it's a school that is so supportive and so nurturing for the kids in this school. And we have children who run through this school when they come in when they're 5 years old and they leave when they're 18 years old. And they just really love it here. It's like a second home for them. They really learn so much and so many skills that go far beyond the stage, and it's going to help them in the classroom when they're a professional in the boardroom. There's poise and how to present yourself. And it's just a lot of fun, and there's a lot of friendships that are developed in this school.
That sounds amazing. Where can we get tickets and learn more information about everything the NPAC has to offer?
You can see our schedule on our website, mayoarts.org. We are always adding events. We actually have 2 going on sale this Friday, Howie Mandel and a Neil Diamond tribute called So Good. We have more events that will be added. We usually add a couple events every week, so there's always something new that's being added to our schedule as we go along. So go to mayoarts.org and you can see everything there and order tickets online there.
Well, Ed Kirchdorfer, Chief Operating Officer of the NPAC, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you again for having us, and we hope to see you here in Morristown.
I'm excited about the Charlie Brown show. We got tickets to that. And they have some really great holiday acts for sure coming up. It's great to have the NPAC nearby.
Of course, and it's great that it's right around the corner for most in northern New Jersey because, 1, there's parking. 2, you don't have to schlep across the Hudson because,
100.
you go to you take the kids in the holidays into the city,
It's
you
a
wind
lot.
up spending $1,000, and not many people have that kind of budget when you could do something for a quarter of that right here in Morristown.
And there are some really nice restaurants around. There's the Morristown Green, which has the lit up tree, and Santa's there a lot of the time. So yeah, you're right. It's for families who are looking for something a little bit more budget friendly, a little bit more accessible. Definitely the place to go. So we have some more Christmas-themed fun coming up. The cast of Home Alone is coming to New Jersey. Woo! I'm excited.
That sounds amazing. But
Kevin! Find out where next.
welcome back, and thanks for joining us. You're watching the New Jersey Morning Show here on New Jersey. I'm Mike Favetta, along with Dina, Deleasa, Gonsar. The cast of the 1990s Home Alone movie is having a reunion right here in New Jersey at Pandora's Box Toys and Collectibles. Owner of the shop, Eric Miller, is here to tell us about the event. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how are you?
We're good. And you need to tell us, how did this event come to be? How did you get it together? And let me know, whom were we going to see there?
Okay, so it's actually kind of like in conjunction with another, we work with a ton of like different agents when we bring in celebrities for meet and greets. And our buddy Chris, who runs East Coast Collectors Service, we were talking one day, and we had Michael Morona from Pete and Pete, who was also in Home Alone, at the store a couple years ago. And he had mentioned that Angela Goethals was going to be in town for another event that she was doing somewhere in South Jersey. So we kind of started to just brainstorm and said, you know what, if we could get Devin and Kristen and Michael and Angela and I think Jed Cohn also is coming, kind of all together in one spot, because it hasn't really been done in almost 20 years. It would be a really cool experience. So yeah, we just kind of put the wheels in motion and we made it happen. But unfortunately, no Macaulay Culkin. I know we field about 1,000 phone calls a day asking why he's not coming.
Oh, no.
So I know I don't want to break everybody's heart, but yeah, he's not going to be there. But this is a really cool opportunity to meet 5 of the other cast members, and ask them questions about the filming and the experiences. And I'm a huge Home Alone guy, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Eric, this was our generation. This was our movie growing up. So what can these fans expect when they come to a meet and greet? You said there'll be a little bit of a Q&A?
Yeah, there'll be an opportunity for them to, what we do at Pandora's Box is much different from what you're going to experience at like a Comic-Con or any other type of convention, where you're very rushed. You don't really get a lot of time with the talent. So we kind of create an environment where, you have your moment to kind of like go up there and talk to all of them at one time and spend, a minute or two kind of like getting your feelings out and saying, I really loved this, and this is such an important part of my childhood, and blah, blah, blah. At a Comic-Con, stuff like that, you literally are like cattle, and they push you through, and you get maybe 10 seconds to hand them something, and then they give it right back and you're gone. So we really pride ourselves on creating more of a fan-friendly experience at the store.
So who are you most excited to share your feelings with showing up to this event?
I don't know. That's a really tough one, because a lot of them have really great quotes that I used to like run around the house and I still say to this day. Probably Angela, from the You're What the French Call Les Incompetents.
Yes.
That was probably one of my favorite ones as a kid. But, Buzz has some great lines.
Sure.
Michael Morona, Kevin, you're such a disease.
Yes.
There's a lot of good stuff. So I'm just kind of excited to talk to them about, the ins and outs of how that movie came to be such an amazing part. And not just that one, but the second one too, it's next to A Christmas Story. It's really probably the biggest Christmas movie, next to like Miracle on 34th Street and all that stuff. But for me, being a kid from the 80s, that's it's still really high up there on my list.
So what other meet and greets have you done in the past at the store?
Oh my God. We've probably done over, 80 now in the past like 3 years that we've been at our location in Lafayette. If you're a wrestling fans from the 80s, we've had Bret Hart and Mick Foley a couple times. He's actually been there twice. We've had William Shatner. I mean, tons. Kate Flannery from The Office was just there a couple weekends ago. Christopher McDonald, who played Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore, was there. We kind of really span the spectrum. We've had Power Rangers and actors. Tyler Mane from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Just, we kind of bounce all Jose Canseco, like sports actors, people that, are important pop culture icons. We try to spread it out, because it's such a diverse community. We try to hit every kind of spot that we can.
All right, so I need to mark my calendar. So I need to
Yes,
know
it is.
how I can get tickets and more information.
Okay, so there is an Eventbrite page that hosts all of our tickets for the live event. If you go on eventbrite.com, so that's eventbrite.com, and you search Home Alone, our event will pop up. There's also a bit.ly link, and that's bit.ly/meet Home Alone, and that'll bring you to the ticket portal. If you go to eastcoastcollectorservice.com, they're handling all the mail-ins. So if you can't make it and you want your VHS copy of Home Alone signed by 5 of the cast members, or a poster, or, there's tons of action figures out now and Funko Pops and tons of Home Alone merch. You can, out your information and send that into us, or we can do an 8x10 or 11x17. There's a ton of different options that we're going to have. So,
Well,
Eric,
I
that
think
sounds
we're
amazing.
all over it.
I'm very, yeah. I have to be, yeah.
Well, Eric Miller, co-owner of Pandora's Box and Collectibles, pandorasboxnj.com is the website for more info. Thank you so much for joining us on the New Jersey Morning Show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Good luck with the event. What a cool time for any fan of that era.
That is, I have to admit, I threw a Home Alone themed Christmas party last year. And I had the little Nero's pizza box there, serving pizza
goodness.
out of it. Like, I went all out. So I think I'm going to drive that hour-and-a-half drive down there.
Sounds like so much fun.
Seems fun. Well, between all the Christmas events and 80-degree weather happening in November, I feel a little confused, but I'm excited for what's ahead. Well, that does it for us today on the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Dina Deleasa Gonsar, in for Cara DeFalco.
And I'm Mike Favetta. More news, talk, and weather is coming up after this.